Hey everyone, and welcome back to the podcast.
I'm Emma.
And I'm James. It's great to have you here.
So, James, today's topic has been everywhere lately. You can't open YouTube, scroll through social media, or even watch the news without hearing about it.
You're talking about artificial intelligence.
Exactly.
Some people say it's the greatest invention of our generation. Others say it's going to take millions of jobs. And honestly, it's hard to know what to believe.
That's completely understandable. AI is developing incredibly fast, and whenever a new technology changes the world, people naturally have questions. Some are excited, some are curious, and some are genuinely worried.
I have to admit, I've asked myself the same question. Is AI really replacing people?
That's probably the biggest question people are asking today.
So, what's the real answer?
Well, the short answer is yes, but it's also much more complicated than that.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
Because it's true, AI is replacing certain tasks, and in some cases, entire jobs. But at the same time, it's creating completely new opportunities that didn't exist just a few years ago.
That's interesting because most headlines only focus on the scary part.
Exactly. Fear gets attention. A headline saying AI will take every job spreads much faster than one explaining the real situation.
So, let's start from the beginning. What exactly is artificial intelligence?
That's a great place to begin. Artificial intelligence, or AI, refers to computer systems that can perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. These tasks include understanding language, recognizing images, solving problems, writing text, translating languages, analyzing data, and even generating music or videos.
So, AI isn't just one thing?
Not at all. It's actually a collection of technologies. Some AI systems recognize faces and photos. Others recommend movies on streaming platforms. Some help doctors detect diseases. Others help businesses answer customer questions automatically.
Wait a second. Does that mean we've been using AI for years without realizing it?
Absolutely. Think about your smartphone. When it recognizes your face to unlock the screen, that's AI. When your email filters spam messages, that's AI. When navigation app finds the fastest route to your destination, AI is involved there too.
That's funny because I always imagined AI as some kind of robot walking around like in science fiction movies.
A lot of people think that. Movies have shaped our imagination. But in reality, most AI doesn't look like a robot at all. It's simply software running behind the scenes.
So, why has everyone suddenly started talking about AI over the last couple of years?
Because something changed. For a long time, AI worked quietly in the background. Then generative AI arrived. Suddenly, ordinary people could ask a computer to write an email, create a picture, summarize a document, write computer code, or answer questions in seconds.
And that made AI visible to everyone.
Exactly. Before, AI mostly helped companies. Now it helps individuals. Students use it. Teachers use it. Programmers use it. Designers use it. Writers use it. Even people with no technical background can benefit from it.
I remember the first time I tried an AI chatbot. I asked it to help me organize my week, and it created a complete schedule in just a few seconds.
That's a perfect example. Tasks that used to take 20 or 30 minutes can sometimes be completed in just a few moments.
Which brings us back to the big question. If AI can do all these things so quickly, why would companies keep hiring people?
That's exactly why so many employees are worried. Imagine you're a business owner. If one person using AI can do the work that previously required 3 people, your costs go down.
That sounds scary.
It can be, but history shows us something interesting. Every major technological revolution has created fear at first.
Really?
Absolutely. When machines entered factories during the Industrial Revolution, many workers believed there would be no jobs left. When computers became common in offices, people thought millions of office workers would become unnecessary. Then the internet arrived, and many believed traditional businesses would disappear forever.
But instead, new industries appeared.
Exactly. Technology changes work. It doesn't simply erase it.
So are we seeing the same pattern with AI?
I believe we are. Some jobs will shrink. Others will evolve. And entirely new careers will appear. Careers that don't even exist today.
That's actually exciting when you think about it.
It is. But it also means people need to adapt. The biggest mistake someone can make today is believing that learning can stop after school or university.
Lifelong learning.
Exactly. The people who continue learning new skills are usually the ones who benefit the most from technological change.
I think that's an important message because many people hear the words artificial intelligence and immediately imagine losing their job tomorrow.
And that's understandable. Change creates uncertainty. But uncertainty doesn't automatically mean disaster. It can also mean opportunity.
Something I've been wondering about is whether AI is actually intelligent in the same way humans are.
That's a fascinating question, and the answer might surprise a lot of people.
Really?
Yes, AI can produce incredibly impressive results, but that doesn't necessarily mean it understands the world the way humans do. It processes enormous amounts of information, identifies patterns, and predicts what comes next. That's very different from human consciousness, emotions, creativity, and life experience.
So when AI gives an answer, it isn't thinking the way we think?
Exactly. It doesn't have dreams. It doesn't have childhood memories. It doesn't feel happiness or fear. It doesn't wake up with ideas in the middle of the night. What it does have is extraordinary speed when processing information.
That's such an important distinction.
It really is. Understanding what AI can do and what it can't do is the first step toward understanding how it's going to shape our future.
And I have a feeling we're only scratching the surface of this conversation.
We definitely are, because once we start looking at specific professions, that's when things become even more interesting.
Especially the question everyone seems to be asking.
Which jobs are actually at risk, and which ones are safer than people think?
That's the question I keep hearing everywhere. Every time I open social media, someone is saying, "This profession is finished," or "AI is coming for your job."
And the truth is, those headlines are usually designed to grab your attention. Reality is much more balanced than that.
So, let's clear up some of the confusion. Which jobs are actually the most vulnerable?
Generally speaking, the jobs that involve repetitive, predictable tasks are the ones most likely to be affected first. If a task follows the same pattern over and over again, there's a good chance AI can learn to assist with it.
Can you give us some examples?
Sure. Think about data entry. For years, people have manually copied information from one system to another. AI can now automate much of that work. Customer support is another example. Many companies use AI chatbots to answer common questions 24 hours a day.
I think most of us have talked to one of those chatbots at some point.
Exactly. Sometimes you don't even realize you're talking to AI until the conversation becomes more complicated.
And that's when you suddenly type, "Can I speak to a real person?"
That's right. AI is very good at handling routine questions, but unusual situations often require human judgment.
So AI isn't replacing every customer service employee.
Not all. It's changing the role. Instead of answering hundreds of simple questions every day, human agents can focus on more complex problems that require empathy, negotiation, or creative thinking.
That actually sounds like an improvement.
In many cases, it is. Technology often removes the repetitive parts of a job, allowing people to spend more time on work that requires human skills.
What about writers? That's another profession people talk about all the time.
That's an interesting one. AI can certainly generate articles, emails, reports, and even stories. But writing isn't just about putting words together. Great writing requires understanding an audience, telling compelling stories, expressing emotions, and building trust.
So, a human writer still has an advantage?
Absolutely. Think about your favorite author or journalist. People don't follow them just because they know grammar. They follow them because of their unique perspective and voice.
That's something AI can't truly copy.
Exactly. It can imitate different styles, but genuine life experience is something entirely different.
What about graphic designers?
AI has made incredible progress there as well. Today, someone can create illustrations, logos, or marketing images in just a few minutes. But professional designers do much more than create attractive visuals. They understand branding, communication, psychology, and what a client is really trying to achieve.
So instead of replacing designers, AI becomes another tool they can use.
That's how many professionals see it. A designer who learns AI may actually become much more productive than someone who refuses to use it.
That seems to be a pattern.
It is. In many industries, the competition isn't between humans and AI. It's between people who know how to use AI and people who don't.
Wow.
That's a completely different way of looking at it.
Think about calculators. They didn't eliminate mathematicians. They simply allowed people to solve calculations much faster. AI has the potential to play a similar role across many professions.
Let's talk about programmers because I know that's a topic that gets people talking.
Definitely. Software developers have seen AI improve dramatically over the last few years. AI can now write code, explain programming concepts, find bugs, and even suggest better solutions.
So, should programmers be worried?
They should pay attention, but they shouldn't panic. Writing code is only one part of software development. Developers also analyze business problems, design systems, communicate with clients, make architectural decisions, test applications, and maintain complex projects.
So coding is only one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Exactly. AI can generate code, but someone still needs to understand whether that code solves the right problem. That's where human expertise remains essential.
I imagine experienced developers are already using AI every day.
Many of them are. Instead of spending an hour writing repetitive code, they use AI to create a first draft. Then they review it, improve it, test it, and adapt it to the project.
So AI saves time rather than replacing the developer.
In many situations, yes. It acts like a very fast assistant, not a complete replacement.
That reminds me of something I heard recently. Someone said, AI won't replace you. A person using AI might.
That's one of the most popular statements in the technology world right now, and there's a lot of truth in it.
Because if two people apply for the same job and one of them knows how to use AI effectively,
they may complete tasks faster, solve problems more efficiently, and deliver better results. Employers naturally value productivity.
that makes learning AI sound less like an option and more like a necessity.
I think that's exactly where we're heading. Understanding AI could become as important as knowing how to use a computer or the internet.
It's amazing how quickly everything is changing.
It really is. Just a few years ago, many of these tools didn't even exist. Today, they're helping millions of people every single day.
But there's one profession that people always mention whenever AI comes up.
Let me guess.
doctors.
Exactly. And that's where the conversation becomes even more fascinating because healthcare is one of the fields where AI has enormous potential, but also very clear limits.
I can't wait to talk about that because I honestly have so many questions.
And once we explore healthcare, we'll also look at teachers, lawyers, pilots, and other professions people often wonder about. Some answers might surprise you. Let's start with doctors because whenever people hear about AI diagnosing diseases or analyzing medical scans, they immediately wonder if hospitals will eventually need fewer physicians.
Honestly, I've wondered the same thing. If AI can examine an X-ray or an MRI in just a few seconds, doesn't it make doctors less necessary?
It might seem that way at first, but medicine is much more than analyzing images. A doctor doesn't simply read test results. They listen to patients, ask follow-up questions, consider medical history, explain treatment options, and help people make incredibly important decisions.
So diagnosis is only one part of the job.
Exactly. AI can become an incredibly powerful assistant, but patients still need someone they can trust. Imagine receiving life-changing medical news from a computer screen with no explanation, no empathy, and no opportunity to ask questions.
That would feel cold.
It would. Healthcare is deeply human. Technology can improve accuracy and save time, but compassion is something patients value just as much as medical knowledge.
So AI could actually help doctors spend more time with their patients?
That's one of the biggest advantages. Instead of spending hours writing reports or reviewing routine information, doctors could focus more on conversations, treatments, and patient care.
That actually sounds like a positive future.
In many ways, it is. The goal isn't to replace doctors. It's to help them make better decisions faster.
What about teachers? I've seen AI explain math, science, history, basically every subject imaginable.
That's another profession people often misunderstand. Teaching isn't simply delivering information. If it were, books would have replaced teachers centuries ago.
That's a really good point.
Great teachers motivate students. They notice when someone is struggling. They adapt their explanations depending on the learner. They encourage confidence and curiosity.
And sometimes they completely change a student's life.
Exactly. Many people can remember a teacher who inspired them. That relationship goes far beyond facts and information.
So AI could help teachers instead of replacing them.
Absolutely. Imagine a teacher who uses AI to create personalized quizzes, summarize lessons, prepare classroom activities, or answer routine questions. That gives the teacher more time to focus on students themselves.
I think I'd rather have a teacher using AI than a teacher trying to do everything alone.
That's the direction many schools are beginning to explore.
Okay, what about lawyers?
AI has become very useful in the legal profession. It can search through thousands of documents, summarize contracts, identify similar court cases, and organize huge amounts of information much faster than a human.
That sounds incredibly useful.
It is, but making legal arguments, negotiating settlements, understanding human behavior, and standing before a judge are completely different challenges.
Because the law isn't just about documents.
Exactly. It's also about judgment, ethics, communication, and persuasion.
So once again, AI becomes a tool rather than a replacement.
You're starting to notice the pattern.
I really am.
Every profession seems to involve something deeply human that AI struggles to reproduce.
That's exactly what many experts believe. The more a job depends on creativity, emotional intelligence, leadership, and complex decision-making, the harder it becomes to automate completely.
Let's talk about pilots because flying an airplane seems incredibly technical.
Modern airplanes already use sophisticated computer systems. In fact, much of a typical flight is supported by automation.
Really? I think that would surprise a lot of people.
It often does, but automation doesn't eliminate the need for pilots. Pilots monitor systems, respond to unexpected situations, communicate with air traffic control, and make critical decisions when conditions change.
So when something unusual happens,
That's when human experience becomes absolutely essential.
I think people sometimes assume AI is perfect.
That's a common misconception. AI can be remarkably accurate, but can also make mistakes. It depends entirely on the quality of the data it receives and the way it's been designed.
So humans still need to check its work.
Absolutely. In many industries, that's one of the most important responsibilities. AI can generate suggestions, but experienced professionals verify whether those suggestions are correct.
That reminds me of GPS navigation.
Exactly. GPS usually finds an excellent route, but sometimes it recommends something that doesn't make sense. Most experienced drivers know when to ignore it.
That's such a simple example, but it explains the idea perfectly.
AI is similar. It's incredibly helpful, but blind trust can be dangerous. Human judgment remains essential.
So maybe the future isn't about humans competing against AI.
I think it's much more accurate to say the future is about collaboration. Humans and AI each have different strengths.
Humans bring creativity, empathy, and experience.
And AI brings speed, consistency, pattern recognition, and the ability to process enormous amounts of information almost instantly.
When you combine those strengths,
You often get better results than either one could achieve alone.
that's actually a much more optimistic picture than the one we usually see online.
Because fear spreads quickly, but balanced conversations take a little longer. The reality is rarely as simple as AI will replace everyone.
And I have a feeling we've only covered part of the story.
You're right, because there's another question people ask all the time.
Let me guess.
If AI is changing the job market, what skills should people start learning today to prepare for the future?
Now that's a conversation everyone needs to hear.
That's probably one of the smartest questions anyone can ask right now. Instead of worrying about what AI might take away, we should be asking what skills will become even more valuable in the future.
I like that way of thinking. It's proactive instead of fearful.
Exactly. Every major technological shift in history has rewarded people who are willing to learn, adapt, and stay curious.
So if someone listening to this podcast is thinking, okay, AI is changing the world, where do I even start? What would you tell them?
I'd tell them not to panic. You don't need to become an AI engineer overnight. In fact, most people never will. What matters is learning how AI can help you in your own profession.
So the first step isn't changing careers?
Not at all. It's understanding your current job and asking yourself a simple question. Which parts of my work could AI help me do faster?
That's interesting because almost every job has repetitive tasks.
Exactly. Think about a marketing manager writing social media posts, a teacher preparing lesson plans, an accountant organizing financial data, or a project manager summarizing meeting notes. AI can save time in all of those situations.
Which means people can spend more time on the parts of the job that actually require human thinking.
That's the idea. Technology should free us from repetitive work so we can focus on creativity, strategy, and solving problems.
So let's talk about the skills that will become more important.
The first one is critical thinking.
What exactly does that mean?
It means being able to analyze information instead of simply accepting it. AI can generate answers in seconds, but those answers aren't always correct. People who can evaluate information, ask good questions, and identify mistakes will always be valuable.
So, just because AI sounds confident doesn't mean it's right.
Exactly. Confidence and accuracy are two completely different things.
That's such an important lesson.
It really is. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming technology is always correct.
What's another skill?
Communication.
Really? I thought you were going to say programming.
Programming is useful, but communication is universal. Every company needs people who can explain ideas clearly, work in teams, negotiate, present solutions, and build relationships.
AI can write an email, but it can't build trust between two people.
Exactly. Human relationships are incredibly valuable in business.
What about creativity?
Creativity is becoming more important, not less. AI can generate thousands of ideas, but humans decide which ideas are meaningful, original, and appropriate.
So creativity isn't disappearing. It's evolving.
That's a great way to put it. Think about photographers. Digital cameras didn't eliminate photography. They changed how photographers work. The best photographers still create amazing images because they have artistic vision.
So AI becomes another creative tool.
Exactly. Just like a paintbrush doesn't create a masterpiece by itself, AI doesn't replace imagination.
I've also heard people talking about something called prompt engineering.
What is that?
That's the skill of communicating effectively with AI systems. The better your instructions, the better the results you receive.
So asking good questions is becoming a valuable skill.
Absolutely. It's a bit like talking to an expert. If your question is vague, you'll probably get a vague answer. If your question is clear, detailed, and specific, the response becomes much more useful.
That's actually something anyone can practice.
Exactly. You don't need an expensive degree to improve that skill. You simply need curiosity and practice.
What about learning new technologies? Sometimes people feel overwhelmed because there are so many AI tools appearing every month.
That's completely understandable. But here's the good news. You don't need to learn every tool. That's impossible.
Really?
Absolutely. Focus on understanding the concepts instead of chasing every new application. Technology changes, but the underlying skills remain valuable.
So instead of trying 50 different AI tools,
master 2 or 3 that genuinely improve your work. Consistency is much more valuable than constantly jumping to the newest trend.
I think that's advice a lot of people need to hear.
Another skill that's becoming incredibly important is adaptability.
Being comfortable with change?
Exactly. 20 years ago, many jobs looked completely different. 20 years from now, the same will probably be true. The people who succeed won't necessarily be the smartest. They'll be the ones who continue learning throughout their lives.
Lifelong learning again.
It always comes back to that. The world changes too quickly for anyone to stop learning.
I have to admit, this conversation has changed the way I think about AI.
How so?
At the beginning, I was mostly thinking about jobs disappearing. Now I'm thinking about opportunities to improve, learn faster, and become more productive.
And that's exactly the mindset many successful professionals have today. They don't ask, how do I compete against AI? They ask, how can AI help me become better at what I already do?
That's a powerful difference.
It really is. And speaking of becoming better, there's one group of people that's probably wondering about all of this more than anyone else.
Students?
Exactly. Students and young professionals. Because the decisions they make today could shape the next 20 or 30 years of their careers.
So, the next question is obvious.
If you were starting your career today in the age of artificial intelligence, what would you learn first? If I were graduating today or just starting my career, I honestly wouldn't ask myself, which job pays the most? I'd ask a different question.
Which is?
Which skills will still be valuable 10 or 20 years from now?
That's a much smarter question because salaries can change, but valuable skills tend to last.
Exactly. The world changes much faster than it used to. Some jobs that exist today didn't even exist 10 years ago, and the same thing will happen over the next decade.
So, trying to predict the perfect career might not be the best strategy.
Right. Instead of chasing a specific job title, it's often better to build a set of flexible skills that can be applied in many different industries.
What would be at the top of your list?
Problem solving.
Before programming?
Before almost everything else. Every company has problems that need solving. Some are technical. Others involve customers, communication, business strategy, or operations. People who can identify problems and find practical solutions will always be valuable.
So, employers aren't just looking for knowledge.
Exactly. Knowledge is important, but applying that knowledge is what creates value.
What comes after problem solving?
Digital literacy.
That sounds broad.
It is, and that's actually the point. Every profession is becoming more digital. Whether you're a doctor, an engineer, a teacher, an architect, or an entrepreneur, technology is becoming part of your daily work.
So, being comfortable with technology is no longer optional.
Exactly. Think about it this way. 20 years ago, knowing how to use email was considered a useful skill. Today, it's simply expected. AI literacy may follow a very similar path.
That's a really interesting comparison.
In the future, employers may simply assume that applicants know how to use AI tools effectively.
So, learning AI today could be like learning the internet in the early 2000s.
That's a comparison many experts make. The people who embrace the internet early often gained significant advantages.
Let's talk about university students, because I know many of them are worried.
They are, and I completely understand why. Imagine spending 4 years studying for a profession, then suddenly hearing headlines claiming AI will replace that profession.
That would definitely make me nervous.
But here's something important to remember. Universities don't just teach information. Ideally, they teach people how to think, analyze, research, communicate, and continue learning.
And those skills don't become obsolete overnight.
Exactly. Information changes. The ability to learn doesn't.
What about people who don't have a university degree?
That's another fascinating change happening right now. Skills are becoming increasingly important. Many companies care less about where you learn something and more about whether you can actually do the work.
So, building a strong portfolio is becoming more valuable.
Absolutely. If you're a programmer, build projects. If you're a designer, create designs. If you're a writer, publish articles. Show people what you can do.
That makes so much sense.
Employers love evidence. Saying you're skilled is one thing. Demonstrating those skills is much more convincing.
I also hear people saying they don't have enough time to learn AI.
That's a common concern, but I'd challenge that idea. You don't need 5 hours every day. Even 20 or 30 minutes of focused learning can make a huge difference over time.
Small steps really do add up.
They absolutely do. Imagine learning one useful AI feature every week. After a year, you've learned more than 50 practical techniques.
When you put it that way, it sounds much more manageable.
Exactly. People often underestimate what consistent effort can achieve.
I think another challenge is fear. Some people are afraid they'll look inexperienced if they start learning something new.
That's completely normal. Nobody enjoys feeling like a beginner. But every expert you admire was once in exactly the same position.
That's easy to forget.
It is. Learning requires humility. You have to accept that you won't know everything immediately.
And that's perfectly okay.
More than okay. It's necessary. Curiosity is one of the most valuable qualities anyone can have in a rapidly changing world.
You know what I've noticed throughout this conversation?
What's that?
Every time we talk about AI, we end up talking about people instead.
That's because technology has always been about people. The tools change, but the goal remains the same: helping humans solve problems, communicate better, and create new opportunities.
So maybe the real story isn't about artificial intelligence.
Maybe it's about human intelligence adapting to a new era.
I love that.
And speaking of adapting, there's another question that millions of people are asking right now.
Let me guess.
Can AI actually become smarter than humans?
Now that is a conversation I can't wait to have.
That's one of the biggest questions of our time. And depending on who you ask, you'll hear completely different answers.
I've noticed that.
Some people say AI will eventually become more intelligent than every human being on Earth, while others think that's impossible.
Exactly. And before we can answer that question, we need to understand what we actually mean by the word intelligence.
That's true. Intelligence can mean a lot of different things.
It certainly can. For example, a chess grandmaster is intelligent. A brilliant scientist is intelligent. A talented musician is intelligent. A successful entrepreneur is intelligent. But they're all intelligent in different ways.
So intelligence isn't just one ability.
Not at all. Humans solve problems using logic, creativity, emotions, intuition, experience, and imagination. AI is extremely good at certain types of tasks, but that doesn't automatically mean it possesses every kind of intelligence that humans do.
Let's take something simple. AI can solve complicated math problems much faster than I can.
Absolutely. And computers have been outperforming humans at calculations for decades. But solving mathematical equations isn't the same as understanding life, relationships, culture, or emotions.
That's an important distinction.
It really is. Imagine asking AI to comfort a close friend who's just experienced a personal tragedy.
It could probably generate comforting words.
It could, but those words would come from patterns and data, not from personal experience. AI has never experienced grief, love, disappointment, excitement, or hope.
So empathy is different from imitation.
Exactly. AI can imitate empathy remarkably well, but imitation and genuine emotion aren't the same thing.
That makes me think about creativity. People often say AI can create music, paintings, poems, and even movies.
It certainly can generate impressive creative work, but there's an interesting question behind all of that.
Which is,
Why do humans create art?
I suppose because we want to express ourselves.
Exactly. Artists often create because they have something personal to say. Their work reflects memories, struggles, dreams, cultures, and experiences. AI doesn't have a personal story to tell.
So when AI creates a painting,
It's generating an image based on patterns it has learned, not expressing its own feelings or memories.
that's actually a huge difference.
It is. Human creativity often comes from emotion. AI creativity comes from probability.
I've never heard it explained like that before.
And that's why many artists aren't trying to compete with AI. Instead, they're using it as another creative tool.
Kind of like photographers using editing software.
Exactly. The software doesn't replace the photographer's vision. It simply helps bring that vision to life.
Let's talk about decision-making. Can AI make better decisions than humans?
Sometimes, yes. If you're talking about processing enormous amounts of data very quickly, AI often has an advantage.
For example,
Imagine analyzing millions of financial transactions to detect fraud. A human might need months. AI can identify unusual patterns in minutes.
That's incredible.
It is, but not every decision is based purely on data.
Because life isn't always logical.
Exactly. Imagine deciding whether someone deserves a second chance after making a mistake, or deciding how to resolve a conflict between two employees. Those situations involve values, ethics, emotions, and human understanding.
Things that can't always be measured with numbers.
Precisely.
Do you think people are sometimes afraid because they compare themselves to AI in the wrong way?
I do. People often compare themselves to AI at the tasks AI performs best. That's like comparing yourself to a calculator in mathematics or a crane in lifting heavy objects.
That's not a fair comparison.
Exactly. Humans have strengths that machines simply don't have. We build relationships. We inspire others. We lead teams. We imagine completely new ideas. We adapt to situations we've never seen before.
And sometimes we make decisions based on instinct.
Yes, and while instinct isn't always perfect, it's often built from years of experience that are difficult to express in words.
So maybe asking whether AI is smarter than humans is the wrong question.
I think a better question is, what kinds of intelligence are humans uniquely good at? And what kinds of intelligence are machines uniquely good at?
That changes the entire conversation.
It really does. Instead of thinking about competition, we start thinking about collaboration.
Humans and AI working together instead of against each other.
Exactly. In many industries, that's already happening. Doctors use AI to analyze medical images. Engineers use AI to test designs. Programmers use AI to write routine code. Writers use AI to brainstorm ideas.
And the final decision still belongs to the human.
In most important situations, yes. Because responsibility, judgment, and accountability are still human responsibilities.
You know, every time we answer one question about AI, it seems to create another.
That's the nature of revolutionary technology. The more we learn, the more fascinating the discussion becomes.
And I think we're about to reach one of the most controversial questions of all.
You're thinking about the future of humanity.
Exactly. Not just our jobs, but the kind of world we'll be living in 20 or 30 years from now.
And that's where this conversation becomes even more exciting. You know, Emma, after everything we talked about today, I don't think the biggest question is whether AI will change the world.
Because it already has.
Exactly. AI is no longer something that's coming in the future. It's already part of our everyday lives. We use it when we search online, navigate traffic, translate languages, shop on the internet, watch videos, and even when we unlock our phones.
So maybe the real question isn't, will AI change my life? It's, how should I respond to that change?
I couldn't have said it better. Throughout history, every generation has faced a technological revolution. Some people resisted it, while others learned how to use it to their advantage.
And history usually remembers the people who adapted.
Exactly. Think about the internet. In the beginning, many people believed it was just a passing trend. Today, it's almost impossible to imagine life without it.
Do you think AI will become just as normal?
I do. In a few years, using AI will probably feel as ordinary as using email, search engines, or smartphones. It won't be something special. It'll simply be another tool we use every day.
That's actually reassuring.
It is. But there's one thing we should always remember.
What's that?
Technology is a tool. A tool has no purpose by itself. Its value depends entirely on the person using it.
That's such a powerful idea.
Think about a camera. In one person's hands, it's just a piece of equipment. In another person's hands, it creates unforgettable memories. The same principle applies to AI.
So, AI doesn't decide our future.
Exactly. We do. Our choices, our values, our creativity, and our willingness to learn will shape how this technology affects society.
I think that's a much healthier way to look at it than simply being afraid.
Fear rarely helps us move forward. Curiosity does. Learning does. Adapting does.
If someone listening today feels overwhelmed by everything happening in the world of AI, what's the very first step they should take?
Start small. Choose one AI tool that relates to your work or your studies. Spend just 15 or 20 minutes a day exploring what it can do. Ask questions. Experiment. Make mistakes. Learn from them.
So there's no need to become an expert overnight.
Absolutely not. Nobody learns everything in a week. The important thing is to begin.
And what if someone is worried that they're too old to learn these new technologies?
I tell them that learning has no age limit. Every year, people of all ages learn new languages, start businesses, change careers, and develop new skills. AI is no different.
That's encouraging.
The people who succeed in the AI era won't necessarily be the youngest or the smartest. They'll be the ones who remain curious and never stop learning.
I love that message.
Me too, because at the end of the day, AI is a remarkable achievement, but it's still human curiosity that created it in the first place.
That's true. Every AI system began with human imagination.
Exactly, and that's something worth remembering. Behind every powerful technology are people asking questions, solving problems, and pushing the limits of what's possible.
So perhaps the future isn't about humans versus AI.
I don't think it is. I think it's about humans working with AI to solve bigger problems than either could solve alone.
Whether that's discovering new medicines,
Improving education,
protecting the environment,
building smarter cities,
or simply making everyday life a little easier for millions of people around the world.
Exactly.
This has been such an interesting conversation. We started with one simple question: is AI replacing jobs? But we've ended up talking about education, creativity, technology, human potential, and the future itself.
And I think that's the perfect reminder that every major technological revolution is about much more than machines. It's about people and the choices they make.
Well, if there's one thing we'd love for you to take away from today's episode, it's this: don't be afraid of learning. The future belongs to people who stay curious, keep improving, and are willing to adapt to change.
AI will continue to evolve, just as technology always has. But qualities like kindness, creativity, critical thinking, communication, and curiosity will always be valuable. Those are the qualities that make us human.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. We hope this conversation helped you see artificial intelligence from a new perspective.
If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to join us again for another deep conversation where we explore big ideas in a simple and practical way.
Until next time, keep learning, keep asking questions, and never stop being curious.
Take care, everyone.
Goodbye.